Hey everyone, and welcome to PruneBellyInsiders. I'm your host once again, Michael Adams. Everybody, please welcome a good friend of mine, another Prune Belly survivor, Brandon Brooks.
Hey guys,
How you doing today, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Just finished up my first week of classes, getting back to school, and it's going pretty well so far. So just got another year ahead of me.
That's great. And you're in college, right?
Yep, I just started my sophomore year.
Cool. What's your major?
Finance. What day was it? Like Wednesday or Tuesday was when I actually officially had declared it. So I came in wanting to do it, but I just got it finalized now.
That's amazing. A lot of math in that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I might need a tutor if you're up for it.
We'll see.
All right. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So as Michael said, I'm Brandon. I was born on May 20th, 2003. And so just sort of jumping back before I was born, when my parents were talking with doctors, there was it was a question if it was prune belly or something else. I forget what the other possibility was. And, my parents were like, oh, we hope it's not prune belly syndrome. And then turns out it was. And so I'm the second child in my family. My sister was born before me. She has no sort of health issues or anything. So it was kind of like a big sort of a new thing for my family and trying to, figure out what to do and how to handle the stuff. And so, like most prune belly kids, I had some surgeries and some operations that I had to go through when I was younger. I believe the first major one I had to do was the descending, because a lot of prune belly kids are born with undescended testicles. I had to go through that first. And then I think about when I was 1 year old, I had deflux surgery in, I forget which kidney it was. I had that one. And then about 6 months later, I had the other one done. When I was 2 years old, I had to get bladder reduction surgery because from my other surgeries that I'd had before that, there was a point in time afterwards where I was very sort of scared to use the bathroom. So there were a couple times when I just was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And it doesn't end up well. So
and can I ask why you were scared to use the bathroom?
I think, it's been such a long time now, but I think it was like after the surgeries and stuff, it was maybe a little bit painful.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I just, I don't want to do it. I'm going to avoid the pain. But a catheter is a little bit more painful than that.
Yeah,
So,
that's actually what I use now. I have to catheterize myself every 3 hours around the clock.
Yeah.
So backing up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
do you know how far through the pregnancy you were before your parents found out it was a prune belly syndrome?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I know it was a good bit before I was born, because I know I was a C-section and I was early. I was expected to be in June, I believe. So I was, like half a month early or something. Just I'm pretty sure to avoid complications is why we chose that route.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure exactly how early it was.
All right. And what was the bladder reduction surgery for again?
So basically when I went in, since I had that fear of like the pain when I had to use the bathroom, I just held it for a really long time. And so that it take like the muscles of the bladder, it was very, very large. It expanded a whole lot. So it was about, like, I think it was the top half of my bladder was still strong and normal, and the bottom half was very loose and just it didn't really work too well. So they kind of took the the loose part of the bladder and sort of cut that part out and reduced it back to more of a normal size. And now still my bladder is kind of still enlarged, but it's not at like a point where I could go like all day or whatever without using the bathroom or anything. But
Yeah.
it is still something that I sort of have to keep track of, because one of really the only things that I have to really watch out for now is making sure I pass, keep fluids running through, because I don't want any fluid to build up around my kidneys. So that's mainly with that. And just on the note of that surgery and everything, I had my doctor growing up was Dr. Voigt at the University of Maryland, and he just recently retired, and I owe my life to Dr. Voigt. Fantastic doctor, and very, very happy for everything he did for me.
Sounds like an amazing doctor, and that University of Maryland is definitely an amazing institution. It's actually one of the medical schools I hope to go to.
It's a great school.
So, why don't you just continue on with your story a little bit?
Okay. And so then after that, what I think is, craziest about myself is that the last surgery that I have had, because of prune belly, was when I was 5 years old, and it was sort of like an abdominal reconstruction, tummy tuck kind of thing. And that was, right before I started elementary school. And there was a point in time, I think, after that, and when I was in elementary school, that it was sort of expected that I was going to need another one probably by the time I got to high school, just to sort of keep everything normal as I grew older. But
yeah,
as I was saying, what's kind of crazy is that was the last surgery I ever had. I don't know what string of luck I had to be how I am now and not have had any other issues or anything, really, not have had to go through any other surgeries through the rest of my life.
That's amazing. Now, when was it that you met another prune belly patient? The first time you met another prune belly?
Ooh. I don't remember how old I was, but there was a prune belly convention, I believe, in Philadelphia, probably 15, 14 years ago now. I must have been really, really little. And we met a family with, they had a son, there was a couple kids in the family, but they had a son named Joey, who he also had prune belly. And they didn't live super close to us, but they didn't live far enough away that it was like hard for us to see them. So for a while, we would try and make it up to their house, like once or twice a year maybe, and just go visit them. And I do believe that they moved a couple of years ago, so we haven't really had much contact with them in recent years, but they were definitely some of like the earliest friends I had made in the whole prune belly community.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a prune belly convention in Philadelphia.
I think that's where it was.
How was that experience for you, meeting other prune belly, seeing that you're not the only one, that there's other people with this condition, and hearing some of the doctors who specialize in this talk about it? I mean, what was that like for you as a prune belly survivor?
Since I was as young as I was when I had been there, I don't necessarily know like how much it affected me then, and if I really understood the scope of where I was at, because I'm sure people from all over the country came just because of how rare of a thing prune belly is. And more of when I look back at it now, I think about how sort of incredible it was to have that many super unique people in, one place at one time. And I remember it's funny, I honestly remember going and seeing like the Liberty Bell as part of that trip. And
Ah,
it was just, as a child, to experience something like that was super awesome. And it's something I'll never forget. And hopefully if things like that happen again, and at least somewhere around here, I'll make my best efforts to go there now that I'm more of an adult and I have an understanding and can really communicate with other people and get some other
yeah,
people's stories.
yeah. So you said your last surgery was when you were 5 years old?
Yeah, and I'm 19 now, so it's been probably about 14 years.
That's absolutely amazing for a prune belly survivor.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. It's really like my, sometimes I don't think about it, but my dad will often say, how lucky I am and how grateful he is. And it's one of those things that, like, I guess I can kind of, it's easy for me to take for granted sometimes because I live just like such a relatively normal life. But when you sit down and think about it, it's like, holy cow, like, how did I end up out of what's the number, like 40,000?
I think
Prune
it's
belly?
one in every 40,000,
Yeah.
50% died before the age of 2.
Yeah. So just the probability of one having prune belly, surviving, and being where I'm at right now, it's just,
Amazing.
yeah, I just sit here and I'm like, I don't know how it happened and why it was me, but I'm forever grateful for it.
And going back to taking things for granted, I think at times we all tend to take things for granted. Like something I have trouble with actually is eating. I have a lot of pain while eating, so it's developed like a fear.
Mhm.
And for me, I can urinate. Well, not even. I'm trying to think what I can stand and walk just fine. I'm still breathing, so I think there are things everybody, not just us, but everybody seems to take for granted.
Yeah.
And it can
Definitely.
happen when you have more of a more normal life.
The more things are just kind of drawn out for you, the more the really lucky things just kind of go
And
by your head.
yeah. So why don't we talk about you growing up a little bit? How was it growing up? Were there any bullies, good friends?
Um, I had a lot of good friends when I was younger, and like most people, just friends come and go as you go through life or whatever. And some of the people I was super close with when I was younger, I'm not super close with now, but pretty much all of the friends that I've ever been really close with, they were, like, me being who I am, and kind of slightly different was never something that bothered any of them. And in school, I never um I never faced any like real bullying or anything, I'd say. But I do remember a couple times where like I'd be sitting down like at my desk, and I'd kind of be slouched over or whatever. And young kids kind of don't have any sort of filter or whatever, so people have been like, oh, you know why does your stomach stick out like that when you're there? Like, why do you have this? Why do you have that? And um, I think because it's something that I think is very easy for us to be sort of self-conscious of, I was, it would upset me a little bit back then. But I've definitely, as I've grown up, gotten a lot more comfortable with it. When I was younger and I'd go like to the pool or to the beach, I'd always have a swim shirt on. I was never
Yeah.
comfortable taking my shirt off until probably early high school. And now I just kind of,
Yeah.
just go with it. Not too worried about it. The only issue I have with taking my shirt off now is, since I work outside, I have a gnarly tan line on my
That's
arm.
amazing. So, how about relationships? Were they normal for you, or what did Prune Belly get in the way, or how did people react to it?
Um, so I've um, like relationships with girls at school and stuff that I've had. I'd say I've only had like two sort of um like steady relationships, and I'm very happy with the one I'm in right now. And but I will say both both of them are, well, the one before was um very nice about it. My current one now is very nice. The current girlfriend is very nice about it. And it's never really been um too much of an issue. And I think it's probably easy to find someone out who they look at your face or whatever, and they find you attractive, but if you don't have whatever certain features or certain build, it's kind of like, oh, ooh. But the people that you do find that are very um kind and open and are the ones that like you because you're unique. They like that you're not like everyone else, and I really appreciate that. So I've had every sort of guy's trouble
That
with relationships, but
and that's the type of people I believe you should hang around anywhere. The people who like you for you, not because of how you look, what you have,
exactly.
etc.
Hmm.
So, growing up, did you have any mental, well, not mental, but depression, anxiety, that type of thing?
uh yeah, I don't know how much of it was necessarily related to Prune Belly, but I definitely it hit me probably around middle school. The most it's definitely a lot more anxiety than depression so much. But in sixth grade, my school takes a trip for a week to this camp that we have. We call it outdoor school, and you go for a week, you stay the night there. And I was too terrified to do it. I couldn't do it. I got permission to get picked up every night because I just didn't want to stay there. There were a couple times when I had like sleepovers with friends, and they all fell asleep, and I was just sitting there like awake with my mind racing, and I was just like, I need to leave. And I'd call my parents at 2 a.m. and I'd say, please come pick me up, like I want to go home. And talking through it, sometimes I think like maybe it could be sort of connected with the fact that, because while I didn't have too many, but when I had surgeries or when I had complications, I found comfort in my parents and being at home. So I was very much like, okay, that's where my happy place is. That's where I want to
Yeah,
be. And even now, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot better with it, but I still face that kind of stuff. I chose a college that's, only an hour drive away from my house because I want to be able to go home like for a weekend if I need it, or if
yeah,
I want to, I'm just having a rough week. If I want to go home one night, I can.
that's absolutely amazing. Also, I hope you don't mind, but can I just mention one of the fundraisers we're having?
Yeah, of course.
Down here in New Jersey in Fairfield Township, October 7th at 8 a.m., we're having a 5K run,
Okay.
a 1 mile walk called the Mikey Mile. And
Hmm.
then we're having a 3 mile bike ride, I think it is, 5K bike ride, which is called Bikes for Bellies.
Hmm.
Half of the money raised is going to go toward the Prune Belly Network, and the other half is going to go towards a fund I have
Hmm.
for a surprise for a couple people,
Yeah.
to say the least, because I
Hmm.
want it to be a surprise to them.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, October 7th at 8 a.m. I hope you guys can make it, and I'll be there giving a speech about Prune Belly and selling Prune Belly t-shirts, which again funding will go towards the surprise I have coming up.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely mark it down. October 7th, 8 a.m.
Yep.
All right. Of
Thank you.
course.
So, getting back to your story, how were things growing up?
I think overall, not just with my circumstances with Prune Belly, but just life in general, I was, given such a caring family, two really nice parents. I fight with my sister because she's my sister. That's just how it goes. But me and my sister have a good relationship, and I live in a nice house in a nice town, and I kind of had sort of everything that I could have needed as a kid to sort of make my life good growing up. And I think that's another thing, like we were talking about earlier, taking for granted, that I never want to take for granted, what I have and the opportunities I was given as a kid with where I'm at. And, um, even like past just my parents and my sister, my grandparents are always supportive. My grandfather on my mom's side was the person who introduced me to playing golf, which I started in elementary school. And I'm wearing my shirt right now because we had pictures earlier today. But that's one of the most important parts of my life right now is staying active by playing golf, and just also being lucky enough that I can
Yeah.
play golf, especially because a lot of it has to do with rotation of your core and everything. You have to have some sort of strength to be able to
Yeah.
play at a fairly competitive level.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. Now, what advice would you give a prune belly who's down on their luck or is upset or is anxious?
I think, sort of looking at, I guess I can just sort of be general advice too, that sure, life might be hard. You might have obstacles that other people might not. You might have, you can't do things that other people can do, but just sort of looking away from the negatives and look at the positives. It's very easy, I think, to ignore the positives when there is negatives, and no matter what you do. And like with playing golf, I'll play a bad round, but I'll have a couple good shots. I ignore those good shots and think about how bad I played overall. But you can't do that. You have to look at the good things. If you have a really supportive family, if you have a pet that you really love, a hobby that you really enjoy, a favorite show, something that can make you happy, is what you should really try and remember that you still do have, even when things are hard.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. So, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Um, I guess just sort of going along with what I had just said with the advice is that, even though things, might be hard, just don't let it keep you down. Try to do everything that you can to be who you want to be and do what you want to do. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to be successful in finance and all. And I hope you have success with medical school and everything. And I think
Thank you.
people like us can be great role models to everyone else who might be struggling. And so I guess just no one should give up on anything that they have in mind. Just set a goal and go for it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I don't believe anyone should ever give up on their dreams. I'm a mind over matter type of person. If you can think, if you can imagine it, guess what? You can do it.
Of course, you can do anything you put your mind to.
So, I think we're getting ready to wrap things up. Just a couple more questions.
Okay.
Are you willing to come back on if people have, if viewers have questions for you?
Yeah, of course. And I'd be willing. I know I've talked with my mom. I know my mom and probably my dad would be willing to come answer some questions as well. might have to do like a bigger call with them or if I was home one weekend, we could get everyone together. But
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'd totally be open to do more questions. Very, very nice to talk.
That'd be amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And is there anything else you want to say before we end the show?
I don't think so, but thank you for having me. Thanks for the opportunity to come and talk.
Thank you for coming on. It was a real honor getting to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I was able to do it. Glad we finally found some time.
Yeah, it took a while, but we finally got a date.
We got it.
All right, everyone. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so YouTube reminds you every time I post a video and you get to see my smiling face. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for doing this, Brandon.
Of course.
For a long time, I seemed unique from a very early age. Asking why, feeling weak, living within a cage, wondering if I am the only one.
What was I supposed to make of my limitations? How much more should I take of this situation? Can it be I am the only one?
The only one. The only one.
All throughout, I found out what love's about. Leaving no doubt, I'll survive. Channel the drive, not deprived. Feel alive.
Do you know how it feels to be different? At times you think you are the only one who exists with the pain of not being the same. When you got brothers and sisters that don't share the same last name or share the same blood, but share the same battle. Some days are real good, some days are just a hassle. Operations to doctor visits, you are not alone. So I wrote this to let you know you don't have to be alone.
The only one.
You don't have to be
The
alone.
only one.
You don't have to be alone.
These days, there are ways through the haze to sing his praise. We gather here with prayers held dear, wanting to erase all pain, death, and fear. Lord, please help them see. No one seems to have heard just how this came to be. We need to spread the word.
Show the world I'm not the only one. No, no. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this community. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for the thread that we share. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this unity. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for the power of care. Thank you,
The
Lord.
PruneBelly Syndrome Network is a volunteer organization devoted to patient support and education of the medical community about this rare condition.
1 in 40,000 live births result in Prune-Belly syndrome, and all of them have all or some of their abdominal muscles missing.
50% will not survive their second birthday.
Our goal is to change the medical profession's perception of Prune-Belly syndrome as a hopeless condition
and to educate and promote an interest among the community to do further research into the causes of the syndrome
and more effective treatments.
www.prunebelly.org.
You can help.
for this community. Thank you, Lord, for the friends we share. Thank you, Lord, for this unity. Thank you, Lord, for the power of care. Thank you, Lord, for showing me I'm not the only one.
If you don't know what Prune Belly is, please go to www.prunebelly.org